Grade 8, Lesson 4. Gulliver and the Little People. 1. Many, many years ago, there was a doctor. He was a ship's doctor, that is, he worked on a ship. His name was Gulliver. In those days, ships were made of wood. They did not have engines like our ships today. They had sails, which are large, strong sheets of cloth. These were tied to the masts or poles of the ship, and when the wind blew, the sails caught the wind and the ship moved. One day, while the ship on which Dr. Gulliver worked was sailing across a sea, a very bad storm broke out. The wind was very strong, and the sea was very rough. Suddenly, the ship hit a big rock and broke to pieces. The sailors jumped into the sea and swam. Gulliver too jumped into the sea and swam. He swam hard, and he swam for many days and nights. At last he saw land, and he swam towards it. When he reached the shore, he was very tired. He threw himself onto the warm sand. He was too tired to keep his eyes open. Soon he fell asleep. When he woke up, he tried to get up, but he could not. He was held down by a number of ropes. His feet, legs, body, arms, hands, and even his hair were all pinned to the ground. Then something climbed onto his leg, walked up his body towards his head, and stood close to his chin. Gulliver looked at it. It was a very small man. He was only about 15 centimeters high. He held a bow and arrow in his hand. He held a bow and an arrow in his hand, while he was looking at this very, very small man. 40 more little men climbed onto him. Gulliver was surprised and was frightened too. So he gave a very loud shout, and immediately all the little people ran down. Then Gulliver tried to break the ropes, but they were too strong for him to break. However, Gulliver pulled hard, and a few ropes broke. He could now move one of his arms a little. When the little people saw this, they began to shout and started shooting their arrows at Gulliver. The arrows were very small, and so they did not hurt Gulliver much. However, Gulliver stopped moving, and he lay still. The little people stopped shooting. The little people then built a platform near Gulliver's head. When the platform was finished, it was high enough for the little people to see Gulliver's face and speak into his ear. The little people then climbed onto the platform, and one of them spoke to Gulliver. The little man's voice was too small for Gulliver to hear. Gulliver answered the little man's questions. Then he asked for some food. The little men hurried away, but soon came back with baskets and baskets of meat and loaves of bread. The pieces of meat and the loaves of bread were many, but they were very, very small. They were too small for Gulliver to eat one at a time. So he put 2 or 3 pieces of meat and about 4 loaves of bread into his mouth at the same time. When he had eaten enough, he closed his eyes. He was very tired, and he soon fell asleep.